Good morning, Cvpoolpros. What is happening? Hope everybody's having a good week. It's almost over. Thank God. Happy Thursday. Happy almost Friday. Hope everybody's having a good week. A couple things we want to go over. This is going on the YouTube channel as well because it is a Cvpoolpro CV Pool School video. There's this sexy bitch.
Now, here's a question. I think...
I don't know where she's going with this.
And I'm surprised they have not done this yet.
What?
These days, YouTube... I'm surprised nobody has an issue with that name. Maybe it's WeTube. You know how people... want to identify as...
You're really going to go there during... You're really going to go there on this?
Them, us.
This is a pool school video. Okay, anyway.
YouTube's going to be...
Holy shit. Okay,
else.
I thought maybe it was going to be something worthwhile. Okay, so, here we go.
Nothing I say is worthwhile.
Pool...
Them two.
CV Pool School video. What to expect for openings. And guys, this is not just us. This is every pool company out there. It doesn't matter who you use. I've never seen anybody. Now, there may be out there. I don't really look. But I've never seen anybody do a video, an instructional or informational video telling you what the customer should expect, but what is expected also of the customer. I'm going to do this because it helps us. But this is kind of across the board for... most other pool companies. Okay, I've worked for a lot of them over the 31 years I've been doing this. So, what you can expect now, some of this.
You can expect an opening and a show. Because we're crazy.
I'm not talking about just us. Okay, so some of this will be just us, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. When we open and close your pool, we open and close your pool. Period. Meaning, we do everything. We take your cover off. We clean your cover the best we can. We fan fold your cover very neatly, so we go to put it back on. It's very easy to put back on. We store your cover wherever you want it, unless you ask us to leave it on a deck, on the driveway, which we have customers that do that because they put it, some of them put it way up high and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, my point is, we do all that. There's some companies that don't. There are some companies out there, believe it or not, we've run into them.
That just let the cover sit on the grass.
Or they make you take your cover off. They don't take the covers off. I've seen that before too. Now, I don't know if they still do it, but I know there were 2 companies out there that didn't take the covers off. You had to take the covers off. Anyway, so we remove the cover, whether it's a mesh cover, a solid cover, safety cover, mesh or solid safety cover. It's that's for an in-ground usually, or an above-ground with full deck around it. A water bag cover, we do the same thing. We empty your water bags. We do all that, guys. We do all of that, guys and gals. We do all that stuff. When we open and close your pool, we open and close your pool. You don't have to touch anything. The only thing we ask that you do, and this is for both in-ground and above, the only things we ask, because it's very little, but the only things we ask, number 1, have your pool full above the skimmer line for your first-time vac, so that when we're done your first-time vac, the level is where it needs to be to run the pool.
To the very top of where the skimmer is.
Over the skimmer. Over the throat of the skimmer, like almost overflowing the pool. Not overflowing, but you know what I'm talking about. Up all the way.
Make sure your electric is on and running.
Make sure your electric's on and running. Make sure there's water, running water.
Make sure there's running water.
The other thing we ask is, one of the other things we ask is, please have your yard manicured. When we have to step in high grass, it becomes a major pain in the ass bringing our tools in.
Or dog shit.
Let me finish. She's right, though. Animal droppings. We love your animals, but we don't want to take their shit with us. Literally. It stinks up our truck. It stinks up your cover. And it's a freaking mess. I'm sure you don't want your cover stored with dog shit.
Not only that, I'm not going to walk in your backyard and have to freaking watch
landmines.
Where I'm stepping.
Again, this right here is for all pool companies. Now, again, not all pool companies do everything we do. Not all of them vacuum your pool the first time. Not all of them remove your cover, clean it, and put it away. A lot of them don't even clean them anymore. We are hearing this from pool professionals that a lot of people, a lot of companies are not cleaning covers anymore. They don't even, matter of fact, from what we were told, they make the pool cover cleaner, but the pool cover cleaning stuff, they hardly ever sell it. So a lot of them aren't even stocking it. Most people don't clean them.
Charge extra
yes.
to even do that.
Yes, they do. They charge extra to do that. Now, the other thing we ask is not only the dog shit or animal shit or cat shit, rat shit, dog shit, alligator shit, whatever it is.
Lizard shit.
All of that.
Rat shit, bat shit, lizard shit.
All of that cleaned up, but also the lawn mowed and neatened up where we need to work, especially where we need to work.
No high grass or plants or bushes should ever be around your filter system.
100% accurate.
Period. Never,
right.
never, never,
no,
never.
She's 100% accurate.
You want to plant a nice, cute little bush next to your system or around your system.
Everybody plants them too close to the system because they grow this way, not always this way. They grow more this way. You plant them close, they're going to touch. They're going to encase. It's not good for your system.
Or you want to plant a tree. Hey, I think this tree would look nice over here by the filter system. Well, guess what's going to happen?
Guess where those roots are going to go?
Trees are going to go. We have one customer.
We don't know what happened to him. But we had one customer that had, if you would have looked at the bottom of his pool, it looked like a road map of the United States. That's not a joke. I am not even remotely kidding.
We usually do his first time cleanup.
Hun, we haven't heard from him in 2 years because he never got that shit from us. Whatever. Anyway, so.
Well, no, we cleaned him up after that. He called me about that afterwards.
I know that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we never. No, anyway, that was 2 years ago, hun. We never heard from him last year. That was 2 years ago. Anyway, so if you have a solid cover on your pool, it is highly recommended. Let me say that again. Highly.
Good thing you can't breathe.
Recommended that you have a cover pump on the cover. There's reasons for that.
And make sure you keep on checking when you have a cover pump on. Make sure you go out and check it. Because even if you have a new cover, it can get holes in it. And the next thing you know, you're sucking out water from the pool.
100% accurate. And we actually have one we think that's happening to right now.
And we were out there yesterday.
The other thing with the cover pumps, if you get a Little Giant, great pumps.
Which we recommend.
We recommend them. They're awesome pumps.
Hello to everybody who's
Hello to whoever's watching.
It doesn't tell us
who you are. There's 3 watching right now. Hello.
Until you actually
when you actually put something up, it'll show us who you are. Anyway, when you have one of those Little Giant, go get your coffee. Little Giant pumps, they come in 2 different colors. They're both blue, but one's a darker blue and one's a lighter blue. The lighter blue are more popular, but it's a Little Giant. Okay. Now,
isn't that an oxymoron? Little Giant.
Yeah, Little Giant, oxymoron. Best pumps on the market. I'll tell you guys that flat out. Best pumps on the market. Again, hi to everybody. There's no names showing who is watching, so I'm saying hi to everybody watching. There's 4 watching right now. What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. This pool school video will be uploaded to, matter of fact, it's on our YouTube channel right now. I'm live on YouTube also, but this will then be saved to our YouTube channel for you to go back and watch at any time, and I will share the video again so that everybody knows that this video is there. This is just an informational video to let everybody know what to expect and what is expected by most of by us. Some of the other pool companies, and I will tell you what the other pool companies don't do because I know what most of them don't do. Again, cover. They don't necessarily remove them. If they do, a lot of them don't clean them. They just put them away. We still clean them to an extent. We clean them the best we can. We don't spend a whole lot of time on them, but we get big debris off of it, and we do hose them down.
I was going to
and
say,
we let them sit in the sun.
Down.
That's the first thing we do when we get there is take your cover off, lay it out, hose it off, and let it sit in the sun to dry before it's put away. You really don't want to put a wet cover away because you can get mold on it. Okay? And then it attracts ants and all kinds of shit.
Now,
right?
Going off of covers, there's another little tidbit on how we usually suggest to everybody to store it. Get yourself one of those big trash plastic containers.
Yep, with the lid.
With the lid.
Trash can on wheels. Very simple. Drill a bunch of little holes in it. And I mean little, tiny holes. Here's why. If you do your holes too big, which a customer of ours found out, well, an ex-customer of ours now.
Mice are going to get in it.
Mice are still going to get to it. The reason for the trash can, if you punch a bunch of little holes in it, and I'm talking like tiny holes, like literally take a punch and go, take a drill with a real small bit and just drill, 50 little holes in the bottom of it, 30 little holes, whatever, 20 little holes. It doesn't have to be that many because when we put it in,
holes you feel.
Right, you could do 5. It really doesn't matter. But the more you do, the more water will drain. But 9 times out of 10 with us.
Morning, Tony.
What's up, Tony? 9 times out of 10 with us, we're not going to put your cover back wet anyway. But just in case there's water left in the cover still, when we roll it up, when we put it in that container, it's put in sideways. All the water can drain out. It's draining out of the
trash can.
The trash can, okay? And that's going to allow the cover to dry correctly, but mice and bugs and ants and shit can't get to it. Now, ants may still get to it, but chances are they're not usually going to go in a trash can. I have never seen them go in a trash can. Anyone that I've ever done, that I've ever told people to put the cover in a trash can, when we pulled it out, there was never anything in it except for one that had mice that went and lit because the holes he put in it were like that big. Duh. Of course, and he drilled the holes, not me. That's why I say really, like 1/4-inch holes.
Yeah,
or smaller. Just the smaller the hole, the more you want to put in there. Okay?
Don't ever just leave your cover
lay
out.
Anywhere. Outside, inside, garage, basement, doesn't matter. Do not leave it lay on the ground. Worst thing for it.
If you tell us just leave it off to the side and I'll get it, make sure you get it.
Right.
Because
you have no idea how badly they get damaged sitting outside and sitting down. Ants live in there. They eat the cover. Mice eat the cover.
We've
their
pulled
food.
out quite a many covers that have been infested, and I mean infested.
Oh yeah,
with
millions of black ants. Millions of them.
And little baby mice.
Yep. Little baby and full grown, having kids in the thing. The other thing you can do is, if you do want to make, I wouldn't do large, but if you want to do some kind of holes on the bigger side, get yourself some mesh, screening type mesh, but not, like you want to do the strong shit, all right? Not screen for a window screen. Mesh, strong mesh. And put that down the bottom and tape it down, glue it down, whatever you want to do. But I would just do the holes really small and just do, 50 of them, 30 of them, whatever. More than 5. The smaller the hole, the more you want to make. Okay? Now, that's for your cover. And guys, to be honest with you, even if you have an above ground and it's a disposable cover, if you want the cover to last, do what we're telling you to do. Okay? Now, above ground pool covers, I don't care whose you get. I don't care what premium level you get. They're junk.
Yeah.
They are junk. They're not made to last.
I was just going to say, they're not
made to last. And they are definitely not made to withstand wind. Oh my God, are they not made to withstand wind? So just so you know, here's a little trick that we did. We actually did it with 2 of our customers this year, 2 or 3. If you own an above-ground pool, excuse me, and you don't have a whole shitload of leaves, we have one that has a tree right over their pool, but they waited. But they get our winter service. Our winter service is we go once a month. We take the leaves out when we can. Blah blah blah. We check your chems. But even if you don't get the winter service, there is nothing saying you have to cover your pool. As long as you don't have a lot of leaves around it, you don't have a lot of trees blowing shit in it, you don't really have to cover your pool, especially if you get nasty winds blowing through your yard. The cover's going to come off. There's nothing we can do about it. We can make that cover as tight as we want, and I'm going to tell you what happens. A lot of times with the wind whipping through your backyard, getting up under your cover, it pulls on the cover, and what happens is the little winch that holds your cover on, it actually breaks the winch. And the winch will break loose, it'll loosen, and the cover will come flying off. We've already had one, the cover ended up in a neighbor's yard. And we had that tight. The customer even came out and went, wow, that's tight. Oh, my God, that's not coming off.
And you know
2 months later, it was in a neighbor's yard.
We've tried the wrapping.
We've tried that saran wrap shit. It worked on one, did not work on another.
Yeah.
So, depending on the amount of wind you get, you might just want to leave the cover off the pool. Now, what we do when you leave a cover off of a pool over the winter, what we do is if we're closing it, it'll be a little extra chemical, but we put extra chemical in to withstand. Now, here's the best thing you can do.
Wait
on that
until
note,
all your leaves are done dropping.
Besides waiting until all your leaves are dropping, get our winter service. Our winter service is a once a month visit, but we remove as many leaves as we can, providing there's no ice on top of the pool. There's a reason why we don't remove it when there's ice on top of the pool, because it's across the top. We don't want it to split the liner. I've seen it happen. We never did it, but I've been on a job that it was done. They moved the ice, and it cut the liner right around the top, and I don't want that to happen. But get our winter service. Our winter services, we're out once a month, all year long, all winter long. We're out once a month. We check the chems. Where applicable, we take the leaves out. We don't vac, obviously. We check the system. We look at everything, make sure everything's good. Basically, it's like having like having somebody clean your house or come and check your dogs when you're away. Same concept. Now, getting to the rest of this. When you know you're scheduled for opening, you know the date. This lady over here always gives you your date well in advance. So there's no excuses.
You know a month ahead of time.
You know at least a month ahead of time usually.
Because I schedule a month ahead.
Right. So, but here's the deal.
And, hold on. And we go by weather. If you're scheduled for the 17th of April and it's a shitty-ass day, you will get moved.
And
whether
that goes
sooner or later.
We're usually not going to wait until that day. Here's when we wait until that day. And this has happened to us, I can't tell you how many times. We'll wake up in the morning and look outside, and it's not supposed to be raining, but it's fucking raining out. We're going, what the hell? We have to reschedule. We don't always know until that day, but you will always get a notice. You'll always get told. We will never just not show up. We will never just show up. We don't do that. You know when we're coming, and you know when we have to reschedule you. Period. So here's the next place I was going with this. A lot of people, and we have had people do this. I've walked off of jobs because of this. When we get to your house, when we take all your shit down and you're putting stuff away for the winter, we get it. You have usually a pool house or a shed, a garage, a basement, whatever that you use that you put your stuff. Like you put your chairs, you put your tables, you put your cushions, you put your pool toys. You put, if it's a garage or a shed, usually lawnmowers, blah, 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 blah. All this shit. Well, what you do is you pile it in front of all the pool shit. A lot of people do it. Our customers know. Move that shit. Either get the pool stuff out for us or just move all the shit out of the way. Guys, we're not going through your stuff. I'm not moving your stuff because if something gets broken, I have to pay for that, even if it wasn't my fault. Maybe it was broken sitting there. You will know when you go to move it. If it's out of our way, there's no reason for us to touch it. We won't. So one of two things. Either have all your shit, pool stuff out for us, or move all the stuff that you put in front of it so that we can get right to your pool stuff and don't have to move any of your other stuff. If we get to your house and there is stuff in front of your pool stuff.
Like, and a lot of stuff. If
a lot of shit.
Like one or two things and we can just there's
like if there's a stack of chairs and we can move it, I'm gonna move a stack of chairs.
But if we gotta do one of these toss things,
not gonna happen. I'll leave your yard. You'll get rescheduled for once this shit's moved, guys.
Or I will send a message and say, hey, is anybody home? We're not going to be moving all this stuff to get what we need.
Guys, it's not our stuff. So when somebody comes into your house, here's a perfect example.
I'm not getting accused.
Here's a perfect example. I used to do plumbing with my brother-in-law. He owned a company. He doesn't own it anymore. But I used to do plumbing with my brother-in-law. We would go into a house and like it was in a basement or in an attic or in a room, whatever. The people didn't want their shit broken. So what would they do? They would move it out of the way for us so we could get to the crawl space, we get to the attic, we could get to the basement, we could get to whatever. Get to the kitchen, under the sink. They would move all the shit out. It's the same concept. Move your stuff out of the way so nothing gets broken. It's that simple. If it's not moved, and when we would get to their house to do whatever job, if the stuff wasn't moved, we would stand there while you move the stuff. We don't touch your stuff. Okay? It's not ours. And we're not there to do your spring cleaning, folks. We're there to clean your pool. Or there to open your pool. Or close your pool. Because this is the same thing when you go to close it. It's the same thing in reverse. Okay? So please make sure that your stuff is easy accessible or left out for us. And make sure everything is there. Now, most pool companies, when they clean your grids, they put your grids, if you have a DE filter, when they clean your grids, they put the grids back in the tank. Some of them put them in the garage or in storage, which is stupid. The best place for them is in the tank. Trust me, there's reasons for that. But if you have a DE filter, do not allow the pool company to take your grids unless you want them to. We have had customers ask us to take their grids so we could clean them and store them. We could clean them better because they were caked. We would bring them home and we would clean them, but the customers asked us to. We didn't just take them. We never just take them. I will tell you this. We have been to 2 customers now. One we no longer have, and the other one I don't remember which one it was. But we went to, I remember the one, so I'll go with that one. We got a new customer. We started their pool the very first year. And Tammy started vacuuming. Didn't bother to pull the tank apart to check. There was no reason to. We didn't have any reason to doubt. Well, all this shit was coming back into the pool. We're like, what the fuck? I said, well, let's pull the tank apart. Pull the tank apart, and there was nothing in the tank. The company that closed the pool took the grids. I'm going to tell you why they do that. 2 reasons. Number 1, usually they charge you to store them. They charge you all winter long to store them. Sort of like in the summer, some companies will take your cover, if you ask them to, will take your cover and they will store it for you for a fee all summer long. They put it away up on a shelf or whatever. I actually worked for a pool company that did that. I'm sorry, I worked for 2 pool companies that did that. We don't have the room, or we would. But the other reason they're going to take your grid assembly, if you have a DE pool, very simple. So you have to go back to them one way or another, because chances are, if you want to get a different pool company, you are going to feel weird about going back to that other company to get your grids. It's going to deter you from wanting to switch. That's one of the main reasons they do it. Yes, it's money all winter long. Yes, it is. But the main reason is deceit, so that you have to go back to them. You have to go back to them either way. Now, the company that this lady had, they didn't even admit that they took her grids. They wouldn't give her grids back to her. So she ended up buying new grids from us and told them to go pound sand. Guys, we've seen this a lot. We've seen this a shitload. And every time we see this, the customer's always like, holy shit, I didn't know they even know they took them. That's the answer we usually get. All right? So be vigilant about it, guys. Keep checking up on these companies. We do not do that unless you ask us to, or we will ask you, hey, these are really, really dirty. We need extra time with these. Would you like us to take them? But we will always...
We did that once.
Twice. Once was Bob Swanick, but he asked us to take them. Oh, and another one we asked if they wanted. I don't remember who that was.
Because they were so bad.
Oh, it was Randy. No, it wasn't Randy. Because Randy has... Whatever. Anyway. So we have done it twice. One asked us, and another one we asked because they were bad. They were bad. They weighed 200 fucking bad. Took both of us to lift the one. So
was that Brian?
No.
Brian, or was it what's his name?
No, you know what? It might have been Brian. Brian. Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah.
Before we got rid of him. Yeah, it might have been. Anyway.
Because they were capable.
So, and I have a way that I DE a pool filter that won't ever happen. If you need to know, let me know. I will do another pool school video on that, but I need to be at a pool to do it.
Once we have one of our customers.
Yeah, once we have one of our customers that's DE, I'll show you and we will explain that in detail. How to keep that from happening, because there is a way to do it. Okay? And I'm one of the very few pool companies that have figured this out. No other pool company I've ever worked for has figured this out until I've told them. They're like, oh my God, that's a great idea. Yeah, no shit. I know. So anyway, payment, big thing.
Is expected the day
we do the service, the day we do the opening and closing, we expect payment that day.
Now, most of our customers are either on the credit card on file or they make arrangements for another form of payment.
But ahead of time.
Which has to be done ahead of time.
Correct. With her. Period.
I am your go-to gal for all communications. So
yes, everything goes through her. Nothing goes through me.
I will be your best friend.
Or worst enemy, depending.
Yes, one thing, and I had to do this the other day. I had to send a reminder for the rest. It was just the labor. No, it was actually the plumbing parts, because we weren't sure what all we needed.
No, it was the labor.
No, it was the parts.
Whatever.
Right. And I sent a reminder. She goes, "Oh my God, I totally forgot." And I said, and I hate sending. I've been saying this from the very get-go. I hate sending reminders.
It's
I
annoying.
know we all need them. I need them too. I just hate having to do it because I feel like I'm
bugging.
Bugging.
And nagging.
But I'm bugging.
Trying to get paid.
I'm bugging in a nice kind of way.
But, after a certain amount, it's not going to be nice anymore. Because we've had those people. And if you need payment arrangements or you don't have the money when it comes time, you got to let us know ahead of time. Yes. Because we will make the decision whether we're going to do it or reschedule you. Yes. Okay? We will make that decision. That's not your decision to make. I'm not saying that to be an asshole. I'm saying that because we have one customer still that they didn't do it last year, but they did it the last 4 years before that, 3 years before that, where they won't tell us until that day, and they won't tell us till after it's done. They'll say, hey, can I pay you? No, that's not how this works. This is not let's make a deal. We don't have that kind of business where we can just, oh, yeah, we'll float you. No, not, That's not how that works. We will make that decision.
We've actually had a customer 2 years ago where we cleaned them up, and how she was speaking to me, we were going to be getting paid that day.
Yeah.
And it wound up being 5 months.
That was last year, huh?
Was it?
Yeah.
It wound up being 5 months.
Yep.
Until we got all the money.
Yeah, 5 months. That's not going to happen. I'll tell you that right now.
We are upfront from the get-go.
We are no bullshit kind of people.
You need to be upfront with us as well. No bullshit, because that's how we are. We don't take no shit. We don't give no shit. That's how you need to be with us.
Right. We are not one of those companies that's no. We're the wrong people for that.
If you can't afford our price or the repair, whatever it is, at that time, and you're like, ooh, okay, we understand.
Talk to us, though.
We understand. We've been there.
We have worked with people many times.
We have made arrangements with other people.
Yes, we have.
We have to make arrangements for some of our bills sometimes.
Right. It's not a big deal.
You got to be upfront and say, hey.
But don't assume.
This is how I could work it.
We get it. But don't assume that we're going to do that. Don't assume that, let's let them do it, and then we'll hit them with it. No, that's being deceitful. And that, to me, means you lose a pool company. Because if you're that deceitful, then what are you going to be like when you go to make your other payments throughout the month or for closing, whatever? Then what are you going to do? No, I won't work with people like that because to me that's deceitful and that's hiding shit and secretive. I hate that. So, and I'm the owner of the company, so what I say goes. I make the rules. She does with me, but I'm the final say.
We are very flexible in working with people.
Right, because we understand, we get it, and we're not out for blood. We're not like that. But don't be secretive. Don't be deceitful in it. Be honest with us. We're honest with you. Be honest with us. That's all we ask. And ahead of time, don't assume that it's going to be okay that, oh, yeah, we'll open your pool and get you, you can pay over the course of the summer. If we okay that, cool. Don't assume we're going to okay that. You have to remember something. From before the season ever even opens, we have money out already in the chemicals we're putting in your pool to open your pool. We paid for those chemicals already. We do not run a tab. That's one thing that people need to understand about us. We don't do early buys anymore. It's not worth it. We get the chemicals ahead of time when we know
the early. Oh. And by early buy, that he's not talking about the early buy-in for the customers.
No, I'm talking about the early buy for us to buy the chemicals and shit we need for the summer.
I'm just saying, you needed to clarify.
Well, whatever.
Because
anyway, we don't do those early buys anymore to get the chemicals early. First of all, I don't want them sitting here, number one, because we don't have a warehouse. They sit outside. And it
became a pain in the ass for the stuff to be sitting outside.
And even putting a tarp over it, especially liquid chlorine loses its potency the more it has, the warmer it is. It loses its potency. Sitting in the sun is not good for it. So I said, you know what? We're not doing that anymore. We go to our supplier to get we never know how many openings or closings we're going to get. So we get it as we need it.
We get it the week before.
Right. Like, let's just say next week we know we have 10 openings. We will calculate that as far as to how many we're going to have. We will go get a certain amount to get us through until the next time we go down there. And then the next time we go down there, we'll get more. That's how we work it. We don't have extra chemical laying around because we don't want it. I don't want it here. I don't want it sitting here. Not that we have any problem with theft or anything, but I don't want it getting diluted. And it's just a pain in the ass for it sitting here. It's more shit we have sitting outside. We don't want it. It looks shitty. So, remember that we have money out for the chemicals that we're putting in your pool when we open it or close it. That money is already out of our pocket. So when you take time to pay, you are not only not giving us the labor money, but you're also not paying us the money that we have out.
There was a cable outage because I just got a message saying it's been restored.
Anyway, so that's for payments, okay? Now, this year, payment, credit card on file this year is going to be mandatory. There's very few that will not have to be, and I'm going to tell you why they will not have to be. They will not have anybody new, your credit card on file, unless you make other arrangements with her. But here's the deal. Anybody that's paying with other arrangements, you miss one payment and your credit card on file. I'm not going to keep hounding people for money. She runs the credit cards physically herself. It doesn't go anywhere. The credit card numbers are here somewhere. I don't even know where they are, and I don't want to. She is the only one that knows where your credit card numbers are. She runs them. So if we have 200 customers, guess what? She's running 200 cards. She runs them. We do not use any outside. We use no outside sources for anything that we do. Nothing. The only thing we might use an outside source for is heaters. If we get a heater repair that we can't figure out, which I'm going to be honest with you, Google, there's not much you can't figure out with Google. But I'm not great with heaters because I just don't have time to learn them. But go ahead, because I know you're dying.
This app that we have, which is the invoice app, you get your invoice before I pull your payment.
Correct. You know what the amount is.
And when I'm done running it, you actually get a notification that the payment went through. I don't know what it looks like on your end, but you get an email. I need to make sure I have your email address.
Email and text. We need both, actually.
So
now,
so we make sure that you get that notification that your payment was pulled as well as us.
So, what else was I going to say? Okay. So, what you can expect when we open your pool. And again, this is us. I will tell you what we do, and I will tell you what most
crazies.
I will tell you what most other companies do not do. A, we take your cover off. If there's one on there, we take your cover off. We clean it the best we can, let it out in the sun to dry. Now, another thing, if it's on the driveway, we leave it there indefinitely. It doesn't matter. We leave it there until we're ready to go. That way it's totally dry. If it's in the grass, we don't leave it there that long because it can start to kill the grass depending on how hot it is and how direct sunlight you get. Okay? We try not to leave it there too long. And if we have to leave it there for a long time because it's not drying right away, we'll move it around. We'll move it to different spots. That way it doesn't kill the grass. So we remove your cover and we clean it the best we can. We also roll it up, we fan fold it nicely, and we put it wherever you want it. That's number one. Number two, we put your system back together. Now, I am going to say something about that real quick. On above ground pools, okay, most of our customers that have above ground pools, in ground pool, this doesn't matter because nobody really takes anything off their in ground pools except for some people that take their pumps off, which there's no reason to do that, but some still do it. The motor companies try to tell them that it saves the motor if you put it inside. It doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't do anything either way. You leave it out, it's still, it doesn't matter.
We have had a customer where they had their motor in a shed.
Yep. Out of the elements.
Out of the elements, and it got frozen up.
Yep, I had to take it apart, and I had to free it up. Guys, it's not the weather that does that. It's not the weather. It's not. Let me say that again. It is not the weather. It's not the weather that does that. It's the chemicals. Here's what happens, and this is what these motor companies don't seem to understand. When the chemicals are on the seal over the winter, those chemicals bind together and they seal the seal. That's what does it. It corrodes to the seal. The seal corrodes to itself. That's what's causing the motor bind. It has nothing to do with the electronics. Nothing to do with the electronics. It's the chemicals drying together that seals it. It seals the seals together. It corrodes the seals together. It literally has nothing to do with electronics. The electronics are dry as soon as we're done with it. It dries. It has nothing to do with the electronics. So these motor companies are telling you, oh, it's better to bring the motor in. No, it's not. It makes zero difference. They sit out all winter, all summer long. I was
just going to say, look at it this way.
They get rained on all summer long. Do you bring it in every night after you're done using the pool? No. Even on above ground. Do you bring it in every night? No. Leaving the motors on the pool does nothing. I don't care what these motor companies tell you. It does nothing to save the motor. It's not the rain or the snow or the wet that's causing the motor. It's the chemicals. There's nothing you're going to do. And sometimes it doesn't freeze. Sometimes it doesn't lock up. It just, we've seen both ways. And we've seen them inside and outside not lock up and lock up. It does not matter. So I really wish these freaking companies would understand. They look at the motor side because you usually don't take them the whole pump. If you do, they take it apart. They don't bother to look at the seal. It's not the rain and moisture that causes it. It's the seal because of the chemicals. That is what's sticking together. Okay? Now, if we have to put your system together and take your system apart, there is going to be a slight extra charge for that because that's more time. Okay? All pool companies are doing this now. Okay? And rightfully so because it's extra time. So if you have an above ground pool, now most of our customers that have above ground pools are hard plumbed. They don't remove anything. We blow their lines out just like we do an in-ground pool. We blow their lines out. And all of them absolutely love it. even customers that have DE and or cartridge filters on their above ground pools, which why you would have a DE filter on an above ground pool is beyond me. It's absolutely pointless. But my point is, even the ones that are hard plumbed that have those systems, leave them on the pool because the weight of or the plumbing is going to keep everything in one place. The wind won't be able to move any of it. Now, if you have your soft plumbing, yes, the wind could lift up an empty DE tank or an empty cartridge. Thank you. Empty cartridge tank. Yes, it can lift those up. Okay. The other thing, real quick on that note, with a cartridge filter, number one, never, ever, ever, this is DE and cartridge, never, ever, 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 ever at closing leave them dirty. Ever. They get cleaned. We clean them. You don't want to leave them uncleaned. You don't want to leave them dirty because it'll ruin the filter. Trust me.
And when we get a new customer and they have one of those, we always pop the top.
And check it.
Because one of our customers that we had gotten, she said, well, I'm having issues. My pressure's really high. No, she wasn't getting any pressure through the system at all.
And hardly any return.
Hardly any return.
It was literally like coming out of it. Seriously, it was bad.
We popped the top because we were both like, what the hell?
And that
everything
thing was
open. What the hell?
That thing was bad. Oh my God, was that cake?
No, it wasn't that one. It was Susan. When we popped the top and we're like, there's no fucking grids.
Oh, I already said that. It was because when you were vacuuming, shit was coming back into the pool. That's the one I was talking about with Susan. That's how we found out there was no grids in there. When you started vacuuming, shit started coming back into the pool. We're like, what the fuck?
Anyway. I hear that you were already talking about that.
So, anyway, also with a cartridge filter, after you clean the filter, especially going into the wintertime, make sure that filter goes back in that tank. Here's why. I'm going to tell you why. Over the winter, that plastic, it's really not plastic, but that rubberish neoprene, whatever it is, compound that the two sides of the cartridge filter are made out of, that shrinks. When it's really cold, that'll shrink. When you go to put that filter, and this has happened to me, when you go to put that filter,
with Heather.
Yes, when you go to put the filter back in the bottom of the tank, it doesn't fit. It seriously, she watched me. I'm like, what the fuck? I learned the hard way.
Sit out in the sun until it.
I had to literally let it sit out in the sun the whole time we were opening the pool and vacuuming it and all that. And then it was tough. It was still a bitch, but it opened up just enough that I could get it in there. So always, always, always put your filters, your cartridge filter and your DE filter do not belong left outside the tank. Put them back in. It's the safest place for them. Rodents can't get to it. If you put the cap back on the tank, put it on loose, put it on 2 threads. Any that's in there can drain out, but the rodents can't get in there. It's the safest place for your filters, whether it's DE or cartridge. Put them back in there. Put the cap on 2, maybe 3 threads. That's all you need. Anything can drain out that may be caught in there from cleaning it, because there's water going to be draining out of it for a while. Just leave the cap loose. Don't leave it off. Believe me, I've seen that before too. We had a DE filter. It wasn't her and I. I was working for a pool company down in Bridgeport. And we went to open a pool, and the cap was off. After I did this, they started putting the caps on 2 to 3 threads. I'm the one that came up with that because we had to take the system apart. I forget why, but we took the system apart. And there was a fucking mouse nest on top of the actual DE. And I mean huge. It was the whole thing. And there were mice inside of it. Because they all went up through the hole. And what they did is when they were climbing up they screwed up the DE grids, climbing up it and chewing it. They were eating the grids. All went along. So that not only was there a mouse nest, the grids were shot. They all had holes in them from the mice. So if you put the drain plug back in 2 to 3 threads, they can't get in, but any water can get out. Trust me, I've been doing this a long time, and I've come up with some really good ways to keep your stuff safe. Okay. What else? Chemicals. We use the same chemicals for every pool closing and opening. The amount of chemicals depends on the pool's condition, the water's condition. Okay? Now, here's a problem that we have been running into. I'll tell you what we use. We use liquid chlorine and 60% algicide. The same thing for every pool. The amount depends on what your water looks like. The greener your water, the more chemical you need. Period. That's that simple. And really, it's not usually the algicide that we need more of. It's usually the liquid chlorine that we use more of. Okay. But we don't buy, as I said earlier, this is going back to buying the early buy for the chemicals for us. We don't buy them early because what we get is we get fresh. So when we have had people ask us, can you use our chemicals? No, we don't use your chemicals. Well, why not? Because number one, we don't know when you got it. Number two, a lot of people buy the kit. The kits suck. Plain and simple. There I said it. The kits are terrible. Number one, you got to buy multiple kits depending on the size of your pool. Number two, it's not liquid chlorine. It is granular. You never want to open a pool, especially if it's green, but I never recommend opening a pool with granular chlorine or closing it with granular chlorine. You use liquid. Liquid mixes with the water without having to brush or do any of that. You put it in and it mixes. Mixes without it even running. We have actually cleared up, I can't tell you how many pools, without the pool even running, from green like this couch. No lie. Hell, we've cleaned them up black.
Yeah.
Literally black. No joke. Not running. We've cleaned them up from black. As a matter of fact, we have a system, her and I, that we won't run your pool, especially if you have, it doesn't matter what your filter system is. If you have a green, brown, or black pool, yes, there's brown. Seen it many times. If you have a green, brown, or black pool, when we go to open it, we do not run your system. We do not open your system to let that shit water run through your system. We don't bother. We let the chemical clear it first. Make your water look nice and clear. Then we will open it up. Then we will do the first time vac. Getting to that now. We do a first time vac when we open your pool. We vac it to open it, and we vac it when we close it. Always. Most pool companies don't do that. I can tell you that. Okay? Some of them are starting to do it now, but most of them did not do that 2, 3, 4 years ago. They did not. I know they didn't for a fact because I know most of the pool companies in the area. I've worked for most of them. Okay? We put in your handrails. We put in your ladders. We put in your eyeball fittings. If you have a diving board, we put that on if you take it off. By the way, there's no reason to take a diving board off of a pool. There is absolutely zero reason to remove your diving board for your winter months. No reason at all. It sits out. Again, guys, everything sits out all summer in the rain.
Snow's not any different.
Snow is rain.
It's water.
It's water. It's rain in frozen form. It's water. So there's no reason to take anything off your pool, like diving boards, pumps, motors. No reason to take any of that off your pool. Leave it there. It's not hurting anything. They are covered. They're wood, but they're inside of a plastic casing. There's no reason to take it off your pool. Leave it on there. Okay? But if you do, we do take them off. We do put them on. Okay? We actually have a customer right now that used to take his off until I told him there was no reason to. And he's like, oh, all right, well, then leave it on. He didn't care. Okay? He just was always told to take it off. No reason to. Animals. Other than animal droppings, cleaned up, yard looking nice. Please keep your animals inside. Big problem, and never been with us, but I've seen this many times.
It's not a problem. I wanna love your animal more than working.
Yeah, that's number one.
And take
no, but seriously, we have actually had, it wasn't us. I worked for another company, and it wasn't my crew, but there was a company that I worked for. Whenever we go in to your in and out of your backyard, we like to leave the gate open so that we don't have to fight with the gate when we're carrying stuff. Well, there was a customer that this other pool company had. I was not on the job, but I had heard about it. That they went to this customer that had show dogs, and like these show dogs were like they were insured show dogs. Like that's how holy shit, they were very expensive dogs, and they showed them. I 2 or 3 times a month they would show them. They won money with these dogs. Well, why they didn't have them penned up, I have no freaking clue, but they didn't. And somebody that didn't know dogs were even there left the gate open for 2 seconds. Literally, they left the gate open to put something down, and then they were getting ready to go back out the gate. They didn't walk away. They put the stuff down right at the gate. Well, when they were putting the stuff down at the gate, a dog ran out the gate. They couldn't catch the dog. The dog ended up getting hit by a car and killed. Okay? So they were going to fire the individual that did it, but the individual did not know they had dogs. It was like their first week, and it was their first time being at that house. So they didn't know. And the customer had to take responsibility of the fact that they did not have the dogs penned up, which they really should have. Okay? They said they didn't know that the pool company was going there. That's bullshit because they always tell the people, like Tammy does, here's your date. So they knew. They knew. They just are trying to put the blame on the pool company so they can get money. And I know that's what happened. I'm not mentioning the pool company name because I'm just not. Anyway, please make sure your animals are penned up. Tammy has already been bitten by one of the dogs. We don't have the customer anymore, but Tammy got bitten by one of the dogs, and that dog knew who we were. But we had been there. She'd taken photos with the dog. She'd pet the dog. She would love the dog. One day it snapped and bit her on her one tattoo. It actually bit her on the tattoo. So, and that customer very rapidly stopped payment on us, and we never did get paid. He was a fucking asshole. Pisses me off. But from now on, we ask that everybody keep their animals inside because we are not going to be held responsible if your animal gets out of the gate. And for us to have to keep opening and closing the gate when we're trying to take stuff in and out, it's a pain in the ass.
And I used to carry treats for the dogs.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore either.
I don't do that anymore because I have accidentally gotten nipped in the finger.
Yep.
Because they just got so excited and wanted it. I need to be the first one, I got to get that. And no fault of theirs. They just got overly eager, but I did get nipped. And, you get nipped on the tip of the finger and you're bleeding, you're bleeding out because that's a nerve-ending spot. So I no longer carry treats, as much as I love the animals, they do kind of take away from getting the job done.
And not only that,
we've had, not with our company, but with another company, his friend's company that we both worked at, the dogs were out and we're trying to take the cover off and the dog goes darting across the cover.
Well, that's part of it.
And then when we had the cover off, the dog slipped into the pool.
That's another one.
We had to save the dog because the dog couldn't swim.
And not only that, if you have a liner pool and that dog starts scratching, it can rip your liner. We're not there to babysit your animals. I hate to say that, guys, but we don't have time for that. We don't have to, and they get in our way. It's just not. Keep your animals inside, please. Keep them penned up while we're there. Okay. What else? So I will say this. There's not really a reason for anybody to take the day off or be home when we are there. And I want to explain why we say that. We love our customers to death, and most of our customers, not most, all of our customers become family. They are. They're our CVP family. Here's the problem. When we're there to when we're there to do anything, We are on a time crunch. We need to get done to get to the next job. We usually have anywhere from 3 to 7 jobs a day, usually. Okay? When we're doing openings, we usually have anywhere from 2 to 3, very rarely, but sometimes 4 a day, depending on whether they're in ground or above ground. Okay?
Yeah.
Plus, as we get into the season, like when we get into June, if we're still doing openings, which is late as hell to be doing openings, but if we're in June, now we're not only doing openings, we're trying to get repairs in as well. We don't have time to sit around and shoot the breeze. We don't want to be rude and keep working, but we don't have time. Now, there's certain customers of ours that are there anyway. Some of them own their own companies, and they get it. When we're working, they're either walking around with us and talking. They understand we're still going, but they understand we have to keep moving. Okay? If you are one of those people that like to talk and be undivided attention, you're not going to get that from us. We're not trying to be rude, guys. We're just trying to keep a schedule. Okay, her and I don't want to be getting home at 10, 11 o'clock at night. It's bad enough we have to do that at times to begin with because of weather. We really don't want to have to do that.
And for openings, I normally don't schedule any more than 3.
Normally. But there's times, here's the problem. When it rains, keep this in mind. When it rains, we don't have crews that we can send. Okay, this didn't, for instance, when I used to work for one of the companies down in Bridgeport. I was going to say Newport. Bridgeport. When you would have, if I would bring a job back, I didn't get to it. They would put that on somebody for the next day. But they had crews. We don't have that luxury. So let's just say it rains and we can't get 3 jobs done. Those 3 jobs are not going to get done the next day. We have to keep our schedule rolling like it is. You will get fit the next time we can get you in, which is usually within a week. 3, 4 days, 5 days max. Usually. Doesn't always happen that way. But we have to reschedule you. We can't get there the next day necessarily unless we are in that area again and we have an opening to get in. So please do not expect that you're going to get the next day. It's not usually going to happen. And we apologize for that, but it's her and I. We can't ask everybody to be moved to be able to get you in the next day. That's not going to happen. Okay? And she goes by geographical location. Usually. Sometimes we can't, but usually. Okay? She does that with services. But with openings and closings, it's very hard to do that because people schedule at different times. All right?
Yeah,
Plus,
I try to keep everybody the same areas
as much as possible.
As much as I can.
What else? I think that's kind of it, unless you had something else you wanted to go over. I think I kind of touched on everything.
Not that I can think of.
Oh, we do. Getting back to one of the things that other companies don't necessarily do. Well, let me put it to you this way. We lost the customer. I wouldn't say lost. I would say more got rid of, but kind of lost. Because somebody told him, or he was under the impression, Tammy sends out, what are they called? What do you call them? Newsletter. Tammy does newsletters when there's something to say, when we need everybody to know stuff. She will usually send it out by email.
And as a matter of fact, this probably next week I'm going to work on a checklist.
Yes.
For everybody on what we need for opening. Now everybody knows, but
well, new customers don't though. So here's the problem. This guy never read his emails. We said that there was going to be a price increase because it goes up every year, and it's not it's not our labor that's going up. Just so everybody knows.
And parts.
Chemicals, parts, equipment, that's what's going up. It's not our labor. Our labor rate hasn't changed in 3 years.
And unfortunately, if it goes up for us, it is going to go up for you because
that's business.
I'm not taking the hit.
No, that's business. Yeah. We would be out of business if we didn't go up. I mean, you want us to be around? Price has got to go up when the price goes up. That's all there is to it. Our labor rate has not changed in at least 3 years. It may even be longer than that, but it's at least 3 years. Our labor rate has not changed. Our labor rate is not going up. We don't need our labor rate to go up.
I'd say in the last 2 years.
3. It's been 3. Trust me, it's been 3. What was I just going to say? Oh, yeah. We don't need to go up with our labor rate. Our labor rate is fine. We make good money with our labor rate, and we're fine with that. Okay? We're not greedy. We are where we are, and we're staying there. Our labor rate is not going up. Now, our service calls, service call rates, depending on what it is, may go up a little bit. They may have to. And a lot of that is only because of gas prices. Well, mostly because of gas prices. And it depends on the distance. A lot of that depends on the distance you are. Okay? But our labor rate is not changing. Our labor rate won't go up. It's not, I mean, unless we absolutely have to. But right now, there's no reason for our labor rate to go up. Our labor rate is just fine where it is. But your chemical rates, chemical prices, equipment prices, parts prices, and what we call site visits. Those are service calls. Site visits and service calls. Those prices will increase because of gas. And really, gas is really what it comes down to, and the distance that you are. Okay? But our labor rate will not change. Our labor rate's not going anywhere. Okay? But please understand that that is a factor. Okay? I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
Somebody was out there.
No, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to go over. I think that's really it. We've been on here about an hour, so I think that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us. Cvpoolpros@gmail.com. Her number, the best way to do it is texting, but Tammy's number is 610-780-3614. That is the cell phone she's literally holding right now. That is the pool company line. That is the pool company line. So when you call, you're getting her. Literally, her. It's Tammy, my wife. For those of you that have my number still, which is very few, if she tells you something, do not call me and say, hey, can you blah, 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 because I'm going to ask her, and she's going to say, no, I just talked to them and told them no. Whatever her answer is, guys, I don't know the schedule. I help her with pricing when I need to. I do not know the schedule, and I don't want to know the schedule. I find out the schedule if I ask the night before or when I get into the truck in the morning. Where are we going? I know nothing about the schedule. So if you come to me and say, hey, I asked, can you get me in tomorrow? I'm going to tell you, talk to Tammy. I don't know the schedule. I'm not going to say I can't. If she tells you no, the answer is no. That's all there is to it. I have nothing to do with the schedule. I handed her the company to run as far as scheduling and office. She does that. I do not. So if you have my number and you text me saying, hey, can you get me in, blah, 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 I'm going to say, my words are literally going to be, contact Tammy, send. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to give any explanation.
Kissy face. Send.
Yeah, not going to do the kissy face. I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to say, contact Tammy. Ask Tammy. That's what I'm going to say. And I'm going to give you her number. Ask Tammy. 610-780-3614. Text is best. That's what I'm going to say. So contacting me for that is pointless because I do not know the schedule. I don't want to know the schedule. I have zero desire to know anything about the schedule. I don't need to. You don't need two people. We actually did that at one point in time. And man, was that a pain in the ass. We did overbook. I took in a job and she already had one scheduled. We did that a couple times. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. That's when we moved everything to her. She does all the scheduling. That way we don't have multiple schedules. Because what was happening is somebody would call me or text me. I would have to text Tammy or call Tammy and say, hey, do we have anything, blah, blah, blah. She would say, yeah. I'm like, well, shit. All right. Because I just told blah, blah, blah. She goes, okay, well, maybe we can move around. We're not doing that. We don't have time for that. One person does the scheduling. Right there. That's the number I already gave you. 610-780-3614. Text if you must call. 1, 2, 3. Leave a voicemail.
Leave a message.
Leave a voicemail. You fucked that one up. Leave.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure where you were going with that.
I figured you would have read my mind like you do. Leave a voicemail if you must call her, because she's probably not going to answer, and we screen our calls. All calls that are not in your, I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but we have, any person that is not in our contacts list is now starting to come up ever since last year, towards the end of the season, are all coming up as spam risk now. All of them. It doesn't matter whether you're a private number, you're a business, it does not matter. They're coming up as spam risk now if you're not in our contacts, which is really freaking stupid that they do that. But it's coming up as spam risk. We don't answer spam risk because 9 times out of 10, it's spam calls. It's somebody trying to sell us something.
When we're in the van, I normally will not answer, because in the van,
it's very tough for her to hear. It's very tough for her. It is for me too.
My ears are screwed up so as it is, so it's hard for me to hear. When we're here at the house, as long as it's before 5 o'clock, I normally do answer. After 5 o'clock, I'm shut down. It's now,
don't forget, she still has
me time, and I do have another side hustle.
Yes,
with Clash.
I was just going to go there. Oh, Lisa Brennan just viewed. And that's another thing I was going to say. Don't forget, she still has a side hustle. Well, we both do, but we still have a side hustle, which is her Believe Customs company. I also have, which some of you may not know, I started another band, so I'm playing again. My band is in the process of writing. We rehearse every Sunday, and we're in the process of writing and the process of looking for, I'll say it now, a lead guitar player. So if anybody knows anybody, send them my way. If you go to our band page, which is at Totalius, Totalius. If you go to our band page, in the top, in the featured section, I think it's called featured, there's different things telling you what we're looking for. If you go in there, you can see it. I know we have some customers that play music. I know we have customers that know people that play music. If there's any lead guitarists out there, I'm supposed to be talking to one tonight. But if there's anybody out there, let us know, because we could also use another rhythm guitar player or another co-lead. Anyway, that's something else that I have going on, which I'm very, very, very heavily invested in, which is my music, my band. And I absolutely love what we're doing. So we have other stuff going on, so we're not always answering the phone, especially after 5 o'clock at night. Okay? All right, my phone is going to die very soon. I got to get it on charge, and I have work I have to do on my drum set upstairs with songs. So I'm going to get going. We've been on here about an hour and 8 minutes, almost 9. So I think we talked about everything. Again,
bend in your ears.
This video is loaded. It's already on our YouTube channel. Check out our YouTube channel, guys. Sign up for our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps us keep going. And there's a lot of information.
Notifications.
Hit the notifications bell. Subscribe. Also, keep in mind, we will be doing a lot of pool school videos this year. Every one of them will be uploaded now to our YouTube channel. So you'll be able to go watch them whenever you want. And they're all going to be very good videos based on information, how-tos, informational, all kinds of stuff like that. Okay? If you have requests, you want to know something, hit us up. If it's something we can do, we'll do it for you. Okay? And 9 times out of 10, we are at a customer's house and we're showing you examples. We don't just talk about it. We show you on an actual pool. I don't go home and change my clothes into nice clothes and make it look like I don't get dirty. We're at a customer's house usually showing you. A lot of times the video we're doing is off the cuff because hey, this is a great idea. Let's do a video on this. We do it right then and there. Okay? So we do on-the-job videos. We don't do them at our warehouse or anything like that. We don't, we don't dress proper for. We're in work clothes, guys. We're working people. All right. Okay, that's it. Everybody have an awesome day. We hope to see everybody soon. Get scheduled. Get scheduled ASAP. We are booking up fast. Okay? Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Be safe, and welcome to the 2024 pool season. We'll see y'all soon. Later.